Jim Rome takes on sports.
Part of what makes this show is the show within the show. The biggest topic on the show always seems to be the show itself. This is a way to give you clones a way to interact with one another. Yes, we will be going through the chat. Yes, it'll be a part of the program. The only thing that could ruin the show are the old school clones spitting up the same bull crap that they always have. The jungle is out taking names and ready to dominate. Let's get it.
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It's 9 o'clock, hour number 3 underway. We're going to recap a little bit of Big 12 Media Days here in just a moment, but don't forget you can listen online, jocksfm.com. The app is in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. A lot of different ways to tune in. The app will also take you to YouTube where you can watch the show live every day, go back and watch the show every day. Search Jocks945 there. Or if you're around the house, tell your home to just enable the Jocks skill. And before we move on to Big 12 Media Days, Greg, tell our listeners about Canty.
Well, Canty can fix it. They're the foundation specialists in our area that have done a great job in making sure that they save their customers the cost of a full replacement. Because if you've walked down the sidewalk, maybe notice a crack, maybe walk down your driveway, notice a crack, maybe some uneven or sinking slabs that are around your home, maybe in your garage or in your basement, well, Canty can fix it and save you the cost of a full replacement. Their poly-level solution restores appearance, value, and safety, and it does so without the mess. Here we have a lot of clay in the soil, which expands and contracts and can cause a lot of havoc on concrete. So get Canty out today. They're the foundation specialists that offer free inspections and estimates, and their work is backed by lifetime transferable warranties. So call them at 205-509-3991 or go online at Canty Can Fix It. That's Canty, C-A-N-T-E-Y, canfixit.com.
All right, Chris Karpman covers Arizona State, was at Big 12 Media Days. We're going to recap that with him as well. Chris, I want to start, though, with the Sun Devils. Folks can find your work at Chris Karpman via Twitter, sundevilsource.com, member of the 247 Sports Network. Give us sort of the 1,000-foot view of Kenny's team right now. Like, where is Arizona State for you heading into this football season? Maybe the possibilities of what you think they can be and some of your bigger concerns.
Yeah, it's interesting. They have this contrast between an established culture with a lot of people who understand that they have high standards and they live their mantra of have more fun working harder than anybody. But they also have a whole bunch of new players who've transferred in that are going to be expected to play really important roles, quarterback, top receivers. They have O-line, D-line, their secondary, one of their top linebackers. So it's going to be fascinating to see how high of a level that those guys are able to play and how much that they gel together at the outset of the season. It's a very difficult schedule. Not really a lot of favors there from the Big 12. I saw that some of the advanced analytics have this as the toughest schedule in the Big 12, which is debatable, obviously. But I think it's going to really tell us a lot about how strong that their culture really is.
I loved some of the additions they made at wide receiver. I think Cutter Boley's got a chance to be a good player in this offense. I really believe it. I also assume he's going to start. I know that's not a lock, but I'm going to make that assumption as of right now. But where are they after last year? Because last year was supposed to be a year, man. You have so much back. You have so much kind of momentum that was created from the previous season, and yet it fell flat. I know Levitt got hurt. I know that didn't help things. But what else, if you were to kind of pinpoint what went wrong last year, help me understand what it was?
There was a lot of injuries. They had moved their starting left guard, Ben Coleman, to center, 6-year player. He got hurt early on in the season. I think it was at Utah, like maybe game 5 or something like that. They lost their leader of their defense, Xavier Alford, didn't play in the Big 12 games. I just think that a lot of the luck that they had the prior year, things kind of went the other way for them last year. disappointing season to be 8-4 in the regular season with all of that talent and the leadership that they had and the experience level. I would also say, though, that when 8-4 is a disappointment, that's sort of an indicator of what you've accomplished over a 3-year period at building the thing out. Sam Levitt, I don't think that even when he was healthy, that he was as good as people expected last year. Part of that might have been just a misperception of what he was going to be capable from an offensive play calling standpoint. Something just seemed kind of a little bit off with just what they thought that he would be and they would be able to accomplish offensively versus what they were working with. Maybe part of that was like the Cam Skadaboo void and the departure, but short yardage situations, goal line situations, they didn't have that ability to convert those. And those are so critical. They ended up getting too many field goals and not being able to sustain drives.
When you think about what this upcoming season could be for Arizona State, we were just going through the ESPN FPI projections for different teams. When you think about ceiling in a league that feels as deep as any in college football of teams that could be good, could be bowl teams, could be maybe teams that are going to push for the playoffs, where do you look at the projection for Arizona State right now? What's your ceiling for this team?
Yeah, I think the 6.5 over under and a lot of the betting markets or the low sixes that are projected by the FPI are kind of writing ASU off a little bit too much, I would say. I haven't seen better wide receivers on any team that I've covered over the last couple of decades. Reed Harris and Omarion Miller are high impact players, and Raiden Vinesbright's very good as well. I do think that Cutter Boley is going to be the starter. I'd say there's about an 80% chance of that right now, based upon the trajectory of what happened through spring ball. Turnovers are obviously the most important stat in football. He had double-digit turnovers in his first year as a starter at Kentucky, and he's going to have to do a very good job of cutting that down in a very difficult schedule. But I think that this is going to be a team that stops the run very well. I like what they did with their defensive line additions in the transfer portal and their linebacker situation with Owen Long coming in after leading the country in tackles last year at Colorado State. And I think they're going to be able to do a good job on the offensive line, establishing the run. And I like their backfield. I think they did a very good job at center with Tana Alatupuola coming in after leading a really good rushing attack at Georgia Tech last year with Haynes King. So I think I look at this team, what I saw in the spring, and it's easily a bowl caliber team, a team that probably should be able to compete for the Big 12 championship in a lot of years. It's just hard when you don't know the roster composition and how other teams have gelled elsewhere. I think that the overall caliber of college football seems to be improving, especially with the depth and the ability to plug your holes via the transfer portal. But in a typical year, I would expect this ASU team to win 7 or 8 games, and I wouldn't be surprised if they won more than that. Again, when you have to go to Texas Tech and BYU and Texas A&M and play in London, that's a lot to ask. They have 9 weeks in a row without a bye to end the season.
As you look at the Big 12 as a whole, everyone seems to think it runs straight through Texas Tech. I think BYU could absolutely factor in there. But how many teams do you think right now can potentially win the league?
Yeah, probably 4 or 5, honestly. I do think I had a preseason all Big 12 vote, so I looked really closely at a lot of these rosters. I did have Texas Tech and BYU with the most top-level players, and I think Texas Tech's going to be really good regardless of the quarterback situation being what it is. BYU, though, is great at the line of scrimmage, and LJ Martin is my pick for the preseason player of the year, which, not a surprise. But there's other teams out there who are easily capable of having a very good season. We saw 2 years ago ASU was picked last in the Big 12 and won it, and that's why they got rid of the preseason media poll. So that tells you that some of these other teams that had massive overhauls of their roster, they're capable of doing pretty great. Like even Oklahoma State was a bad team last year. They had 75 new players. Like, are you kidding me? Houston, I thought, was very impressive last year and has some very good players returning and a lot of continuity, and could be a surprise team this year. So I would not be at all surprised if one of these teams that's predicted to be middle of the pack team ends up playing in the hunt for a berth in the Big 12 championship game by the time we get to November.
Chris Karpman covers Arizona State, was at Big 12 Media Days as well, though. At Chris Karpman, you can follow him on Twitter. Let's go back to just Big 12 Media Days as a whole. Were you surprised at what went on with Texas Tech? And there are a couple of levels to this. Number one, essentially the commissioner deciding not to reference it at all. And then number two, sort of the defense that continues from the Texas Tech side of, and I'm paraphrasing, why is everyone mad at us? Why is this the surprise from that guard of, hey, what happened? Why are people upset? What do we do? What were some of the conversations around those things that took place at Big 12 Media Days?
Yeah, I think Brett Yormark has done a good job as the commissioner through a challenging last few years, but I don't agree with how he handled the outset of the question phase at Big 12 Media Day. Like, the very first question was about the most obvious thing that everyone there is going to want to talk about, the Sorsby situation, and he said today is not the day for it. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, think about it. Like, all the media are there. This quarterback situation had a major impact on the team that is most likely to projected to be the conference winner, and you're not going to talk about it. He also transferred from another team in the league, so that didn't really make a lot of sense. I think that rubbed people in the room wrong. Like, he's trying seemingly to control the narrative and have that not be the top storyline coming off of the Big 12 Media Day, but that was inevitable. So I think that something that was prepared, that he wanted to stay and stick to about the circumstances of the league's decision and the conversations that they had around it, that would have been a better way to go. I also think, though, that some of the Texas Tech media's approach to the whole situation didn't really make a lot of sense to me. I thought there was some indignance that didn't make much sense. Like, we all understand, people who have been around sports for a long time, whether you're a player, coach, in the media, fan, whatever, if you're betting on your own team's games, regardless of what that is, that's an integrity issue, and you should expect to not be able to play anymore for that whatever that sport is at that level that you're at, whether that's pro, college, anything. You should expect that's what's going to happen. And I don't understand the indignance that just existed with some of the Texas Tech media around it.
Yeah, I just don't understand how you could defend it personally. I understand it makes sense why you would defend your school, but at the same time, like, this is a guy that never played for your school, and I just don't think you made a lot of friends in the process, and now they're enemy number one for everybody, it seems like. At least that's the way it looks like from a fan standpoint. So when you look at the rest of the league and how they've approached the Texas Tech situation, do you anticipate like a supercharged environment every time Texas Tech goes on the road as a result of what went down the last few months?
Maybe. There already, you had the Joey McGuire comments with Texas beefing back and forth, which was really interesting. There just seems to be a lot of swagger and bravado. You have Texas Tech's top booster basically like wondering or pushing other billionaire boosters at other schools to like empty their pocketbooks to do it. There's just oddities around what's going on with Texas Tech that I think their perspective is only what it is because they're either following, supporting Texas Tech, or they're part of the program, or they have some bias there. And there's no doubt that simmering underneath the surface is some annoyance, is the way I would put it, with their whole, attitude, the aloofness, the Cody Campbell situation, what happened with Sorsby and quarterback. It's not like Joey McGuire's disliked, or that people feel like there's like something wrong with them or the team, but there is some frustration, especially when everybody knows that Texas Tech has the best funded roster and should be at the top of the Big 12 this year.
Chris, we appreciate the time, man. Great stuff, great insight, not only to Arizona State, but the Big 12 in general as well. Thanks for hopping on with us today. We'll do it again soon.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, man. Take care. Chris Karpman. You can follow him on Twitter at Chris Karpman. 247 Sports, covers Arizona State, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. We'll follow up on a little bit of what Chris said there. We haven't put in our final touch on the Big 12 of who wins it. What do we think the league will look like at the end of the season coming out of Big 12 Media Days? That and more next on Jocks.
Don't leave Jocks back at the house. Download the Jocks 94.5 app and take us anywhere, in the car, at work, or at the game. Live audio, video, and podcasts on your schedule. The Jocks 94.5 app, wherever you may be.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Mr. Sandman. All I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler. So I got to live my life and make people really happy.
The Heartbreak Kid himself, Shawn Michaels. Do you think there's anybody better than you were?
I think I was great at what I did, and I think other people were great at what they did as well. Greatness is more a mindset, I think, than anything else.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingerberg. One thing I promised you is an all-access pass that you wouldn't get on any other show. And we found out that whoever comes on scores a goal. Burhope, Freeman, Trusty. U.S. Soccer Podcast magic is real, people. We still got plenty of coverage all throughout this World Cup. Okay, let's get into it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henkel. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.